Once again, we're seeing that the little guys in boxing, specifically the featherweights, can come together and put on entertaining matches. And it was no different this past Saturday, March 4th, when we got the chance to see Brandon Figueroa take on Magsayo for the WBC interim featherweight title. These two young men put on a display that was worthy of consideration, another Fight of the Year candidate, but it's still early in 2023, and we're seeing these young men put forth the type of effort that you really want to see in boxing. But there's always a little bit of controversy in boxing, and we had a little bit here. The right man won, but there were still circumstances and a little thing called accountability that should have come into play, but did not. Let's talk about it a little further. I had said in a pre-fight video I had done on these two gentlemen, Figueroa versus Magsayo, that it would be like two rams clashing with their antlers just smashing against one another. And for periods, moments at a time, in this fight, that was the type of action that we got a chance to see. But one fighter was going to have to adjust and make the fight a tactical fight. And we did see that. But it wasn't who you might think. It actually ended up being Brandon Figueroa making those adjustments. Magsayo entered this fight with the idea of challenging for that featherweight title, but he had trouble making weight. Missing the scale by nearly a full pound, he had to strip down and come back and weigh again before he was able to meet the fight. Did that play a role in his performance? Possibly, but there were some familiar themes that took place in this fight that we had seen from Magsayo in the past. And that should not be overruled. Think about it like this. Figueroa, who has come into the fight, and he is now 24-1-1 with 18 KOs. An aggressive fighter who pursues his opponents. He looks to impose his will and his physicality on his opponents. Now, Figueroa can box. There's no doubt about that. But similar to Sebastian Fondor, he likes to engage on the inside. And people were giving Mark Magsayo an opportunity because he's a strong featherweight fighter, imposing, physical, and he has a heavy punch. He's not a knockout puncher, but he has heavy hands. And his record now stands at 24-2 with 16 KOs after dropping this decision to Figueroa. But it was what transpired in the fight, the lack of adjustments by Magsayo and the pursuit of conquering by Figueroa that kind of dictated what we were seeing here. Magsayo at some point thought that he might be able to just land something strong and hard, and that would make Figueroa fold up. But seeing that Figueroa had fought the likes of Stephen Fulton in his career, he knows what it's like to be in there against top-notch opposition. And though he dropped a majority decision in November of 2021 to Fulton, Magsayo, in his last fight, July of 22, dropped a split decision to Ray Vargas. He was not able to be physical enough with Vargas to get that decision. And excuses came when he dropped the decision in this fight. But you have to look at it, and I talk about it, about fighters and accountability. If you're going to make a complaint, start looking in the mirror first. The fact that he did not make weight solidly says that there's a problem there. Discipline. In the fight, when things began to not go his way, we saw Magsayo doing things that he ended up getting penalized for. Things such as holding. Yes, he was holding, and Figueroa was still punching with the free hand. And as we saw Figueroa punching with the free hand, so did the referee. And the referee ended up deducting a point from Magsayo holding on a couple of different occasions. But what I noticed was Figueroa's pressure and body punching was starting to get to Mark. And that's when Mark began to show signs of weakness in his legs. Could that also have been a part of the conditioning factor, not being in the best of shape, looking to cut weight improperly? Who knows? Only Mark knows. But it's interesting how in the post-fight, he and his staff wanted to go after the ref for the way he refereed the fight, but they took no accountability in the performance of Mark. How about going in there and using boxing skills, jabbing, lateral movement, getting in and out, turning your opponent? These things did not take place. Now, there were outbursts and spurts where he would try to throw shots and gain points, but he was beginning to wither himself because he just wasn't in the best of shape. And when a fight begins to go like that, you have to pay attention to the fighter that's fading. And that was Magsayo in this instance. He was deducted 1 point for holding in rounds 8 and round 11. The rounds where he was beginning to fatigue. And there was no second win for him because he wasn't in the best of condition. Figueroa suffered a cut over his right eye in round 4, and a cut over his left eye in round 10, both from accidental headbutts, or were they accidental? You see, there was a point where Magsayo began to go to the canvas. In one of the rounds, he just kind of fell to the canvas as Figueroa stepped out of the way, sort of like a sidestepping, and Magsayo went right to the floor. Several other times, I counted at least 4, it could have been 5 times that it looked like Magsayo voluntarily took a knee in this fight. And though the ref did not call any of them knockdowns, he could have very well done so because Magsayo voluntarily took the knees. And there's a problem there because he didn't have the answers of what he should do under those conditions outside of taking a knee. And because the ref didn't penalize him for it, he was able to do it several times. It's the equivalent of spitting out the mouthpiece intentionally so you can gain a breather, or there's a time in the action for the ref to get your mouthpiece rinsed and put back in. I noticed this, and they did not address that. They tried to say he was being pushed down, but no, he voluntarily took the knees. I jokingly remarked in my post-fight show that it was similar to T-bowing. Huh? We all remember that. But I'll tell you something. The sooner a fighter, professional fighter, takes accountability, it'll be the first time. I don't like seeing these fighters make excuses. When you lose, you lose. When you win, you win. No one ever excuses themselves for winning a fight. But you do have to have a sense of what you're involved in. This is professional boxing. Some guys, you're just not gonna get out of there because you punch hard. You're gonna have to find a tactical means to be victorious. And that means utilizing boxing skill and capability. And though he has the type of style that calls for in-close proximation fighting, Figueroa understands this all too well. But if he had to step back and pop the jab and move around a little bit, he can. Mark Magsayo is looking to bomb you out. He dives in with his shots head first a number of the times, and it's very dangerous. So while he complains, Figueroa goes forward seeking that title shot for the WBC. Will he get it? Who knows? Boxing is very fickle these days, and sanctioning bodies move people around like checkers on a board. I think that Mark Magsayo needs to buckle down and focus up on his career a little bit more. I think that he's believed in his press clippings a little bit. The decision that he got over Gary Russell was not a good decision. He fought a one-handed Russell, didn't look to rematch him. And see, those kind of things, when you take note, guys who are just skating through, eventually the ice really breaks on them. And they have to find a new way. And sometimes they don't. And this is the type of situation where Magsayo is going to have to come back. He's going to have to improve because it only gets tougher from here. This was the type of fight that really, had he won it could have been a shot in the arm. But because he has escaped in the past and hasn't done what he should do to be successful, this is where we find him. What do you think? Should Magsayo stay at featherweight or move up like they threatened to do after the fight in the post press? Personally, I think he needs to buckle down and focus up on his career and start adding to his toolbox as far as boxing skills. That's what's best for him, but he's probably not going to elect to do that. What are your thoughts? This is Storm the B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts and what should be next for Brandon Figueroa and Mark Magsayo. Maybe they should rematch. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.